It's 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm tired as shit. Haven't slept yet, but it seems like a good time to record because that's what I feel like doing right now. Alright, so what are we doing today? Well, today we are going to be doing creating a new SCP one-shot campaign for D&D, all homebrew. I've run a campaign similar to this before, and I may have to run this on Saturday depending on how my DM is feeling. So I'm putting together the information, and I figured it might be fun to do this while people are watching so I can explain how my thought process is going, and so you can do this for yourself at home, or you could just simply take what I'm using and use it for yourselves. Either way, I don't really care. But we're going to sit here, have a good time, and create something new from pretty much nothing. SCP is open source material, so yeah, this is going to be cool. SCP has a lot of predefined lore, and fitting that into a D&D campaign is actually surprisingly easy if you fit things together well. There are explanations for things. We'll jump right into it, and if anything arises, we'll talk about it then. But I got some jazz to play in the background, and we're just gonna have a good time. So this is my first window. Let me move my webcam over. I am messing up my webcam. There we go. Right there. Okay. So we're probably going to split this into like 40-minute segments. And I can switch from one monitor to the other one if I really need to. So I can show you everything I'm doing. So this is Pixlr. Pixlr is like scuffed Photoshop. It's what I use because it's free. Anyone can use it. It's pretty much the same as Photoshop, just without some of the extra options that make it, good. But this is what I created last time for the character sheet. Everything is pretty simple. Name, role, your security clearance, background, inventory, and then I put all of this into a what's it called? I'll just show you. Yeah, here we go. I put all this into a Google drawing so that my players can fill out whatever they want here.
I don't know how to help with that.
What?
Here are other things you can try.
I didn't talk to you, Google. Stupid. Next. Here. So yeah. This is the template, so I'm not going to mess this up. This is going to be changed because I'm going to change the map. But basically, the way this system works is it works similarly off a JoJo's campaign that we're in the middle of right now. So instead of having like 2d4 or a d20, everything is based off d20s, and you get ranks in your skills. So I think I should have... actually, I know... but I copied and pasted it into the D&D chat today. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, this is what I wrote. So it uses a role system. So role systems are like classes in, I guess, D&D. So these are like the bottom tier classes, and this is a one-shot, so they want to increase. But if you want to run various one-shots with other characters, you can increase it, give them some extra stuff if you really want to. But the three classes I have are Junior Researcher, Security Rookie, and D-Class Personnel. And they all have their various things. I'll link this in the description if you want to take a look. What we're going to be looking at right now is skills. So there's A, B, and C class. What am I saying? Yeah, skills. So you take these and you fill these out with A, B, and C. So A, you roll 2 d20s and you take the higher of 2. B, you roll 1 d20 and whatever you get, you get. And if you have C, you roll 2 d20s and take the lowest. So if you need to figure out where you want to place your skills. in order to figure things out. Now, the last campaign that I made was... Do I have the paper next to me so I can reference it off the cuff? Yes, I do. So last time I did most of the stuff. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Oh, the light's in the way. I did most of the map and planning on a piece of paper. And then I translated that online. But I'm doing the opposite now so you guys can see what I'm doing. But I basically, first thing I did was I made a list of the SCPs that I wanted. All the SCPs do various things. And then I basically I've run this version of the map twice, and now I'm running a completely different version. I've run it once with one group of people, and a second time with a different group of people, changing things up. And some things worked, some things didn't. This time I want to take a completely different approach, because in the last one I threw a bunch of like monster type SCPs at them, and they basically did a lot of running away the entire time. But this time I kind of want to play into more of story elements. So those who know SCP, not a requirement, will know Dr. Bright and Dr. Clef. They both have fundamental SCP lore, and they should make for some fun story beats and decision making the characters will have to make. But before we do anything, I want to first make a map. So we're going to be doing that here. So let's make a new layer. Oh, it changed how this website works. Very cool. We're going to add an empty layer. And why is this? Is this new too? Huh. No, that's the same. Odd. What is this? A frame. Delete. Anywho. We are going to make this layer completely white. This is going to be a very basic map because this is a map of a facility. There's a new SCP game that came out recently. I think it's called SCP Containment Breach Unity or something like that. But it's pretty fun. What I want to do is make it... The way that works is there's like a ring, and then there's wings coming off of the ring with an elevator in the center. I'm going to do something similar. Not exactly the same, but similar. So I guess the best way to do that, to make a ring in this, I'm not sure what the best way is, but I am going to do something a little bit stupid. Let's switch the colors. I can't see anything. Let's add a new layer. Empty. Click. Big black circle. Yeah, it looks actually a little bit too big. So we're going to undo that. We're going to make this a tad smaller. 340. That looks fine. Yeah, it looks much more manageable. And we're going to put that smack dab a bit in the middle. And what I'm going to do is while the players are playing, we're doing this over Discord, so I can share my screen and move around to the little red dots on the map to show where they are in proximity to the map around them. So they know where they are because obviously if they're in the facility, they would know a little bit about it. That's way too small. I am using the wrong tool. Now I want to use an eraser, turn off the softness, turn up size to, what was it, 600 something? That seems a little big. 640? Oh, that is way too big. Yeah, it's definitely an eraser. 520? What the hell? How big is this eraser? Did I make this a lot bigger than I thought it was? Okay, there we go. Well, yeah, you know it's a problem when you can't even see the outline. A little bit bigger. Could just check the pixelage on the other one. Okay, yeah, now we're approaching the right size. So 300. A little bit bigger. Oh, I like this. Yeah, that's about exactly how I want it. I want it very thin because I will be describing it, and most of it is going to end up being hallways like the SCP game. Yeah, this looks good so far. Did I loop this jazz? It's 4 hours. I don't need to loop it, but just in case, I will. Okay. Says it's royalty free, but one can never be too sure. So I think we're gonna have the entrance be towards the south. That seems most logical. Oh, this brush is still huge. How big is it? Like 9? No, maybe 10 pixels. 15? Yeah, it seems about perfect. Yeah, this may not be perfect, a perfect circle, but it's good enough. This is just so players orientate themselves where it is, and then I will make a second version of this map where I can mark down where I want all the individual SCPs to be and what they find in the individual areas, so the next part is mainly for me. So this is going to be the center of our quote-unquote facility, and I wanted to have a north wing, a west wing, a south wing, a north wing, an east wing, a west wing, and a south wing. Actually, yeah, maybe that's a tad too much. It should be fine. So what I'm gonna do now is, I believe if I hold shift, it should make a straight line. Or not even all of it. Am I dumb? What the hell? I know there's a button to get straight lines. Filter, keyboard shortcuts. Perfect. Am I dumb? I could have sworn. Stocks, save, free transfer. Yeah, this is not what I want. Okay, so instead of using a brush, we're gonna use this, and we're gonna use the marquee tool. And by marquee, I mean lasso. So we're gonna have it jet out about that far. And now what we can do is we can make this bigger. What am I doing? Did I not select the right thing? I don't think I did. Make the brush size 80 pits. There we go. We deselect the pixels. We make our next wing. And I could be doing this on other layers, but I don't think it's necessary for the first part. Whoop. Now we grab the next one. Deselect pixels. I'm not going to make each of the hallways very large. I don't want them to be confused by where they need to go. I just want them to be able to find the SCPs, and the way out, we're going to have to find various key cards throughout it, either by taking... I'm going to make it so there's actually 3 different ways they can get out. 2 are going to be story-driven. They're either going to have to listen to they're either going to have to work with Dr. Clef or work with the SCPs to find a key card. They'll have to side with one of them, or they have to go their own route, avoiding both parties, which is going to be much harder, but it's still going to lead to a way out. This line's a little thick, but again, I don't care. Deselect. Actually, I really do care. It's kind of driving me nuts just looking at it. Undo. Oh, what the hell? That's not what I wanted. There we go. Now, it's exactly the same size. Pro game remove. color that in black. And I believe I'll make each episode about 40 minutes so I can get a significant amount of progress in each time. Oh wow, that is not good. Well, luckily I can move it. Yeah, that should be fine for now. Yeah, so now that I have my individual wings, I need to decide what each one is going to be. So we're going to hop back into this Google Docs, and we're going to make our first little note, because taking notes is always important or else you'll get lost. So we're going to increase this to 14, bold underline, and we're going to type wings of... Oh god, I hope I can spell this. Facility. How wrong is that? That wrong. I can't spell for crap. It's probably gonna be my biggest weakness. But as long as I know what I write, that's fine. Wings of facility. So, south wing is probably going to be, I would say administration and exit. So south wing, admin, and exit. And that's pretty much all. Once they're in the south wing, it's going to be just a stretch home. Maybe I'll put one obstacle in front of them that they have to get around. Or, yeah, maybe Dr. Clef tries to stop them at the last minute or something. Admin and exit. East. Oh, what is it doing? Why'd you revert? Okay. East wing. So east wing. I don't know why, but it makes me feel better to look at this. So south wing, east wing. So east wing is kind of where I want them to start. I don't know why, it just feels right in my head. So in east wing, we'll have... We'll have offices and... Not worker, what's a word? Researcher? Researcher and D-class dorms. Dorms is a lovely way to say prisons. Offices, research, and D-class dorms. Yeah, that's pretty much what I want there. So for the next one, we have, let's do north. North. Work our way around counterclockwise. North wing. We'll have... I feel like the facility nuke, because that's where I want Dr. Bright to be. Nuke. And nuke. Nuke and light containment zone area, whatever you want to call it. Light containment zone. If you think about it, in the SCP wikis, typically they go through a long period of time. For example, Able, SCP-076. His containment, he has a huge story in the facility, inside the SCP facility, and he goes through multiple stages of containment procedures throughout his entire stay there until they finally came up with this ultimate way, and then finally his story ends with him getting eventually neutralized. But most of the dates in the SCP are all redacted, so those periods of time are flexible, so you can have your SCPs appear no matter what period of time it is, just in different, housing requirements. Like you could say, oh, this is before they properly knew how to house 173 or Shy Guy or whatever you want to throw in there, because there's literally thousands of SCPs to choose from. Ooh, excuse me. But yeah. Nuke light containment zone. Yeah. And then North Wing. Probably final place we'll go to. North Wing. We'll have the heavy containment zone. And I think that's it. And if something pops up, I can add it here. And now we're going to pop down a few lines. I'm going to increase this by 14 again. Do this. And we are going to title this List of SCP enter. Oh, it changed it back to 12. Very cool. So now what we're going to do is, I have a few off the top of my head, but I know it won't be enough. Since I want this to be mainly story-driven, I'm going to focus around a storyline in between Dr. Clef and a few of the SCPs he's been known to interact with. So one of these, like, I'm heavily inspiring this off a video made by Rubber on SCP-3 something. Basically, he's God. I've known about him for a long time. He's just God. It's pretty epic. But I've learned more about it than I knew before, and I feel like including it is going to be interesting. So let me find out the numbers of them by going to The Rubber's YouTube channel. The Rubber. This guy, there it is. We're not going to be playing any of his video because we don't want to be copy stricken. 343. He also mentions another one. So we're going to first put on a tab. First put up a tab with 343. And there he is. So we're just going to have this out. And let's say I say, oh, there's a file in this SCP sitting in this testing room. I can just send them the link to this. Players aren't helpless. They can do their own research. If they want to read this, they can. And they might learn something about it or use this SCP in a greater way. Or you could let them interact with this on a huge surprise. Or you can just give them the gist. It's all up to you and how you want to DM your campaign. Okay, let me see. Yeah, it's Dr. Clef. Flip the switches. Fin helmet. 239. SCP 239. So I'm focusing on god-like entities for this and other humanoid-speaking SCPs. So we have 239. I also want to put in... I'm just looking at my list. I also want to put in Dr. Bright, who is classified as SCP 9 3. I guess I'll give a brief explanation of the ones that I'm picking. So SCP 343 is pretty much just God. He's a safe class SCP, but he can leave the facility and go whenever he likes. He enjoys talking with people, and he brings up the morale of the people he talks to. SCP facility likes him. SCP 239, not exactly. She is basically God, if this is the right one. Yeah, this is definitely the right one. Dr. Clef does not like her because she is a godlike being. Basically, anything she thinks can turn true. So here's a great fucking excerpt. Who the hell thought it would be a good idea to tell her about Santa Claus and then tell her it was just a story? Now we have another potential SCP to deal with. But we can't catch him because he's magic. Yeah, so literally anything this little girl thinks is real will be real. So the SCP facility knows she knows this and has given her a book of approved spells. So like she can go ignite flame, and then like a little fire will pop up from like that's like the size of a lighter. But if she was like, I want to melt your face now, yeah, then your face would melt. Dr. Clef, basically, I had her in the previous one where she was basically just being held and nothing more than that. But ever since the events of the last one, I'm going to say now she is in basically the situation that the rubber has her in, where she is being sedated in a coma tube, and Dr. Clef is going to be in a prison cell, and he's going to want to kill her, and he's going to use the help of 343, who is God, in order to help that happens, along with the players. SCP-963 is an amulet that Dr. Bright had. He was transporting it one day when Abel attacked. He died holding it, and now whoever holds it gets possessed by the consciousness of Dr. Bright and basically becomes him. Their consciousness gets wiped, and they essentially go brain dead, and Dr. Bright inhabits their body. Next SCP. Who else did I want to have? Yes. SCP the Teenage Succubus. Is Succubus 2 C's? I don't know. Here it is. So Teenage Succubus is actually Dr. Clef's daughter. Yeah, where does it say that? It's going to Harlan. That's its GPT document. So Dr. Clef is an interesting character. Trying to see. I'm very tired right now. Anywho, I'll just give you guys the cliff notes. Basically, SCP-166, also known as the Teenage Succubus, is Dr. Clef's daughter. He had intercourse with a forest god. You know how it be. And basically, SCP-166 has, if a male sees her, they will become uncontrollably horny and attempt to do her. But she is a good Catholic girl, and she was actually a nun for a long period of time and only lived around women, so she only found out about this when she was 16. Dr. Clef has a special ability that makes him immune to all cognito-hazard SCPs, which basically means if it can affect your senses, he is completely immune to it. So he is completely immune to the effects of his own daughter. But yes. So let's start writing these down on our other monitor before we start losing track. So list of SCP. So we're going to do the number first, just a number, and then their code, like a code word. So 343, oh god, is God. 239 is magic child. SCP 963 is Dr. Bright. SCP 166 is Teen Suck. You just have to write them down in a way that you know that it makes sense, and then you can put them down into your map however you choose. However, I'm going to use these characters to make a story. 4 definitely isn't enough, so we'll throw in a few safe class SCPs to give some spice to the world. Because players like touching everything, and in a one-shot, you don't have to be nice to players, which means if they die, it's their fault. Okay. Before I do anything else, I'm going to check the rubber again, because he makes a lot of videos, and sometimes seeing a list of SCP numbers is very helpful in order to pick things to do. Ooh, this one is a good one. SCP-953. Technically, another godlike one. Actually, she is a Korean yokai type figure. So, yeah, I'm trying to think. She's a good one to put into this because I want to focus on gods. I don't know. I think he's 3,000 something. Kufukov. Yeah, you'll see. I'll pull him up. 7 Brides, Infinite IKEA. I do want to put 173. He's a little bit cliche, so I left him out of the last one. But there are some real funny stories with him and Dr. Bright. Dr. Bright has known to dress SCP up, SCP-173, a little good old Peanut, in a dress and proceed to fuck Peanut, with multiple D-class personnel just watching. So, SCP-173 doesn't really need a title, but we're just going to call him Billy. Next one that I said I wanted to have. Just going over these again, seeing if there's anything else I want to just toss into here. Not particularly. Not these anyway. Yeah. I'll probably keep it to 9, maybe a little bit more. 9, 5, 3, and I like how they're number based instead of like names. That way your players legitimately have to experience each one. Is there a space in between these? No, there's not. It seemed like there was for a second. I don't know. My eyes are starting to go. I'll probably pick this up in the morning once we hit the 40-minute mark. But until then, I want to get some good amount of work done. So I don't know. We'll call this Fox Woman, because that's pretty much what she is. Woman. Alright, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll do 3 more interesting-ish ones. Oh, yeah. Let me go back to the other monitor. I've been neglecting to do that. So now we're going to look up SCP. Oh god, how do you spell Cthulhu? Cthulhu. Can you tell I'm tired? Cthulhu. I don't know. There it is. Yeah, this is definitely it. So this is an SCP that is technically a young god. However, he acts more like just a normal dude. Like he wants to just live a quiet, normal life. But literally, because he exists, cults keep on springing up out of nowhere and doing some fucked up shit in order to get to him. His existence just spawns cults. It's kind of cool, but it would suck to be him. So this is SCP. Oh, what am I doing? SCP 2662, and we'll just call him. What was his title again? CTHULHU. Fuck off. Yes, but I'm trying to feature this around godlike SCPs. Not in the sense of their like pure raw physical power. And there are a couple that I could throw in here, but they would kind of not be interesting to interact with, or they would literally one-shot the users, or they couldn't be contained, so it's unrealistic to put them in a facility. And I kind of want to keep this more in the grounds of reality. Have I not been saving half the stuff that I've been writing down? I don't think I have. Whatever, I can always look them up on the spot now that I have their exact numbers. So let's see. We have God, Magic Child, Dr. Bright, Teenage Succubus, Billy, good old Billy, the Fox Woman, Kafugov. Yeah, so half the people I'm writing to be sympathetic towards the characters in order to let them out of their containment because of what Dr. Bright's doing. Even though some of them are legitimately sympathetic, let's just say if you let a few of them out, it will not be a good time for your party. SCP Builder Bear. So Builder Bear is number one. The rubber went over. Yeah, they kind of self-replicates itself. And then it just makes more and more versions of itself and just kind of goes around the facility. Like, look at this death machine. Yeah, it really do be like that sometimes. And because it can build itself, who's to say that there can't be more than one of them? So we're going to throw this one in here. Yeah, Rubber's Talks, a great animatic YouTube channel to visualize some of these SCPs. I don't really like some of his animations and how he portrays some things, but most of them are good. I would prefer if you looked at the Vulcan if you want pure information, better source. I'll link both their channels down below though. Builder Bear. So let me check my old notes to see if there's anything else that I can put in here that would be interesting. I already put in Cain, Abel, Shy Guy, Dr. Bright, 999, which is basically a little happy slime, Mr. Deeds, which is a little bell that basically summons a butler that can get you anything, with many voices, Abel, the immortal lizard, Carl Prosser, who is literally just a dude who seals fucking hate. Seals will start speaking human language just to insult this man. Very funny. He died. The Plague Doctor, the Coffee Machine. Oh, that's a good one. I hadn't done the Coffee Machine. They didn't encounter it. Possessive Mask, Human Refuted, And then, of course, 239. So we'll do the coffee machine again. So that's 294. 294 coffee machine. For those of you who don't know, 294 is a drink dispenser that with a keyboard. So you can type in whatever drink you want. You could go, give me a cup of liquid gold, and it would dispense a cup of liquid gold for you. However, one of the janitors named Joe said he wanted a cup of Joe. And let's just say his body was found shortly later. So it's a very interesting item. It's kind of like a monkey's paw. Alright, coffee machine. I'm trying to think if there's any just normal items. We're going to switch back to the other monitor and see if the rubber has anything else. Because why not? He makes some good videos. This one would be interesting. Living Legos. But I don't think so. This one is a literal god. But nah. Da 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 da. Red Sea Object is interesting. They used the Red Sea Object in his video in the God SCP. That's how they killed 239, the Magic Child. We're gonna go to the Vulcan now because I don't see any of these that I feel like including. Just scrolling up, not really feeling it. Not feeling it, not at all. Oh yeah, this is it. That's the vending machine. Dream Man, that might be an interesting one. Don't know too much about Dream Man, but I don't think it would fit. We are going to go to the Yeah, so this guy reads out SCP videos. Very interesting content. So we are going to scroll down, just skimming a bunch of these. What is this? By upload? We'll go by upload, and if we can't find something that we want to use, we will switch to oh, God damn it. Popular uploads and look through that. This one, the iPods, is SCPs that are specifically designed to counter 173, so we're not going to put those in there. But I want to see more quality of life SCPs that they can use. Oh, this one, the chef's knife. I just thought of that one. That one's perfect. The chef's knife, I believe it's one I'm thinking of. Command level. Yes. SCP-668. SCP-668. So SCP-668 is a chef's knife. However, if you're holding it, people cannot possess any hostile intent towards you. If they're holding a gun, they physically can't pull the trigger. If they're about to stab you, they physically can't stab you. If they are trying to nuke you by pushing a button and they know that you're there, they will be unable to push that button. They have to have someone else push the button in a blind sequence, not knowing what they're doing, in order to take you out. It's a hella dangerous SCP, but it might be very interesting because it wouldn't work against Dr. Clef. And if Dr. Clef got a hold of it, ho ho ho. 668. So this object, even though it's technically a Euclid object, it doesn't escape on its own. It's just a danger other people have it. 628. Oh, God. Oh, God. Rewatching the video on this might be interesting, though. But yeah, it's a crazy SCP. We'll just call this knife on our document, and we'll go to the next one. So, infinite TP is an interesting one. It's toilet paper, and if you take too much of it, it will, let's just say it'll detonate the entire world. Yeah, because it doesn't technically. It's interesting, but I don't think I want to have our players end the entire campaign, the entire one shot in 3 seconds by just tearing as much toilet paper as they can, and then a nuclear bomb just, you know, ends the entire facility. The adults, Builder Bear. I'm gonna open this in a new tab. Will it start playing automatically? No. We're gonna pause this, and then I can watch that later, so I can re-go over it along with the teenage succubus. Did I mark that down right? Yes, 166. Rocket Surgeon, Cousin Johnny, Toffet, Jungle in a Jar, Euclid class. I could search his channel for safe class SCPs. This one's interesting, but I used in the last one even though they never encountered it, and I don't feel like sticking it in there again. Just not what I want to do. I am a toaster. Yeah, we're approaching like an hour mark. Ventriloquist dummy. What object class is this? Euclid. I'll take a look at it. I don't know this one. Let's pause it. Pause the video. But it should be interesting to see. The machine is a good one. Able. Placenta. We'll check what this one is out. I will watch these today and tomorrow, and then when I come back, I'll have a good idea of what more I want to do. But doing your research yourself is always important. Unknown, huh? Zombie Plague, Song of Genesis. Ferdinand the Cannibal is a pretty good one. I don't want to stick him in this one though, because I want to do an entire campaign revolved around him. He is really interesting. It seems like we're poking down to his older videos. Yeah, no. We're going to start going up. I feel like we've seen most of them, but what we'll do is we can search his channel specifically and type in the word safe. Artifact safe SCP. So I'll open this up in a new tab. We're not gonna do a weed one because I don't want to do that. We'll do this one. Multiversal strip club, no. Microscopic SCP, no. An old castaway is an interesting one. Factory, no. There's no room for a factory. Banana pill. Yeah, why not? Eyelid removal tool? What the hell? This seems interesting. We'll do this one too. Because that one is a scary one. And I think that's all we are going to talk to about. This one's also cool. We'll stick that one in. And I'll look over these videos and figure out which ones I want to do and which ones I don't want to do. And we'll see what we... We'll talk more tomorrow about our little planning session and what more we'll have to do. Thanks for sticking with me for this bit of entertainment. If you like this video, leave a like, or don't. That's fair. I'm going to get some sleep, and then we're going to jump right back into it. See you all next time.